Hi, this is April from Performing Education, and this is my project-based learning digital resource for students that want to keep all of their records for everything that they do for their project-based learning activities. So this is something that you can simply give your students in order to have them work with whatever project-based learning that you have created. So I'm going to go through how to work each piece of this document. Let's start with our text here, and I apologize for a little bit of lag from the iPad to my computer, but first thing is I include text box that your students can edit. They can change the size of the text, the color of the text to whatever they want it to look like. They also can move these text boxes around and add new text box, and they can highlight and fill. There's really a lot of things that they can do in the Google Slides app, and this resource allows the flexibility of that while still having a way for students to stay on task and know exactly what they need to do in each piece. So another feature is that if they squeeze with their fingers to zoom out, you'll see that they have Post-it notes on the left-hand side, and these Post-it notes can be edited and dragged and dropped, and sizes can be changed. They can be duplicated, whatever they need to do. This could be something where they add the definition for the driving question, or add themselves a quick note, hey, I need to remember this. Anything that doesn't fit on their regular page, reminders are usually what my students use these for. And you'll see those are available on each page. And then, of course, when they're zoomed in, they're not going to see that. So they can zoom in and out to find those Post-it notes. Another interactive feature is on our task list. And the task lists are so important in project-based learning because we want to make sure before our students even start that they have step-by-step what they're going to do for their in-depth inquiry and also what they're doing for their end product. And this slide can be duplicated if they have a task list for each part of the project. It depends on what you want. So I've already dragged this push pin over to show that that task is finished, but they can click on and drag. You have to be careful because sometimes it changes the size. I kind of like to zoom in a little bit. My students are way better at this than I am. They have smaller fingers. But they can easily move these to the side. There we go, to indicate that they are done with that task. So of course they always comment when I'm showing them things that I'm old, and I'm really not that old. But you know, they're so good at this stuff, it's crazy. So that is our task list. Another thing that you'll see a materials list. So once they are gathered materials, they can put a push pin just to indicate that they've gathered that material, and this can be used for their end product or the process of the project-based learning activity. It really just is flexible however you need to use it. Now let's look at our questions I have. So in project-based learning, you really want your kids to be doing in-depth inquiry, so they should be asking questions and answering those throughout the project. So they're going to have more than 3 questions. So what I show my students is you can easily duplicate this by holding down the slide, clicking the duplicate button on the top, and then clicking paste, and that duplicates the entire slide. So now they have room for 6 questions. And then they can hold down on the slide, and if they want to move it to a different spot, they can. I do the same thing for the sources. So I have a piece in here where they can write down all of their source information during research or any other piece they do. And sorry, it's loading a little slow. But for the sources, obviously, there's only 1 page listed for each print and each digital source, so they can make copies of these as well in order to have whatever many sources they actually need. Oops. Okay. So if they go to their source page, this is a print source, they hold it down, and they can make a copy every time they have a new print source. So this is very versatile because it doesn't really matter how many sources your students have. They can make as many copies as they need. They can also add notes about the sources if they have something they want to remember that doesn't quite fit in the bottom piece. So there really are a lot of ways to use this resource, but the great thing about it is that it is digital so that your students have everything all in one place. It can be used with any device. You can use an iPad or a Chromebook, and the kids just love it, and it makes it super easy to keep everything together. So if you have questions about this resource, I am always here to help. My email is april@performingineducation.com, and I really hope that you and your students enjoy this fabulous resource to use to keep everything organized for their project-based learning activities.